Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing another wrap up. I've changed my method of doing these wrap ups. I'm not going to be doing them like every month. I'm going to be doing them like just periodically whenever I've read enough books to warrant a wrap up. So probably every time I read like 5 or 6 books. And this month I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I read 5 actual books and then I read like 10 mangas. But I'm gonna go in the order that I read these because that's just the way I had them stacked. The first book I read was Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, and this book came with a big surprise for me. I completely forgot that the main character of this book and me share the same first name. Or at least I'm assuming, since her first name is Britt and my name is Brittany, so a lot of people call me Britt, so I'm just assuming her full name is Brittany. But in this book, Brittany is having a few relationship problems. So instead of going to Hawaii with a few of her other friends, her and her best friend decide that they're going to go hiking near her friend's, I guess, vacation home. I don't know really what else to call it, where her brother is going to end up being. A blizzard actually starts up while they're making their way up to the mountain where her friend's vacation home is. And because of this blizzard, they end up taking a wrong turn up the mountain and they end up getting stranded with these 2 fugitives. And after a lot of lies and misleading, Britt actually ends up having to lead these 2 fugitives down the mountain. Now, this isn't a book that I necessarily loved, but I did fairly enjoy it, and that could be because I read it via audiobook, and that was for 2 reasons. The main one being I was kind of in a reading slump, or I just hadn't been reading a lot. And, you know, audiobooks, you know, you read fairly quickly. The other reason is that we had a major blackout that lasted like a good 7 to 10 hours, and there was nothing else to do. I will say this though. As the story progressed, I really did get more and more invested in the story and trying to figure out the mystery behind everything that was going on. And I did figure it out in a way, but I didn't like tie up all the details in my mind. I mean, there was a lot of things that threw me for a curve. I thought they were completely unrelated, but they were 100% related, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. Even though, like I said, it frustrates me because I want to, you know, figure out the mystery on my own. And even though I feel like I could have, it's just like my mind didn't tie up all of these loose ends together until it was already too late. Rating-wise, I ended up giving this book a 3 stars. The next book I read was Paper Hearts by Ali Novak, and this book got a solid 4 out of 4 stars. I'm not sure which one I love more, Heartbreakers or this one, and I actually just found out that there's going to be 2 more books in this series, and I'm so happy about that. If you haven't read an Ali Novak book, they are just really fun, cutesy, fast-paced contemporaries, and I think they're actually my favorite contemporaries that I've read. You can also read each of them as a standalone, but it's like, I feel like if you want to get like the full backstory about all the characters, that you do need to read them in order. The first book, The Heartbreakers, is about Oliver, who is the singer for the Heartbreakers. And in this one, we follow Alec, who I'm actually not 100% sure now if he's just lead guitarist or the bassist. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm mad at myself for that, but I read this book in like 2 sittings, and I kind of just flew right through it. I mean, it was fantastic. So since I read through it so fast, and it's been a while since I read the book, I don't remember all of the details, and I feel like once the other 2 books come out, I'm going to read all 4 books together so I get the full story. But the next 2 books actually are the love stories for the other 2 band members. And even though while I find it highly unrealistic that each of these band members would fall in love with someone who's not famous, you know, considering the actual statistics of that happening, I do like the fact that the people they fall in love with are actually down to earth and very I want to say diverse individuals, at least personality-wise. And I will also say that this book surprised me in a lot of ways because it talks about the main character, Felicity, has her entire life planned out, and then it's like all of a sudden she gets, you know, information about her sister, and Alec ends up helping her find her sister. And you know, when I read this, I took it as Alec knowing her sister. So for the first part of the book, I'm thinking, how does Alec know her sister? How is, you know, this all fitting together? But really, it was, I just read the back wrong, and it was actually just that he's helping her track down her sister. Had nothing to do with him actually knowing her sister. So that was a screw up on my part, and it made me like see things that actually weren't there, and like completely give myself a headache actually trying to figure it out. I know I wasn't cohesive at all talking about this book. I didn't really give it a summary at all. But it's also one of those books that I feel like would just be best if you go in blind. Overall, this book was fantastic. I love it. I highly recommend it if you're just looking for something cute and fast-paced and very much a contemporary. The next book I read was The Leveler, and I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. And the more I think about this book, the more I think I'm going to unhaul it. Mainly because I don't feel like there's going to be another book to the series, and I really never intend to reread this book. So even though it was entertaining, you know, I hope that one day a second book does come out with, you know, in the series. I think that I'll just like get it from my library if that ever happens. And I don't think I can accurately sum up this book without spoiling something. All I can say is that it's set in a virtual reality world where this girl, who is a leveler, takes people that are abusing the system in the virtual reality world and like boots them from the game. And I'm guessing she's considered one of the best levelers, or it may just be the ties with her parents that get her the job to track down the person who created this virtual world and get his son out, which at this point in time, they didn't know he's kidnapped, but he was kidnapped. And I will say, the people who kidnapped him was kind of a shock. I loved the twist, like midway through the book and at the end of the book. All the way through the book, I could guess one of the people behind it, but there was 2 characters that really did throw me off. So it made up for the fact that from the very beginning I could see who like the main boss behind all of this was. Next up, I reread Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I read this in preparation to read Leah on the Offbeat, and I truthfully am still in love with this book. It was so incredibly adorable. I did end up listening to this book on audiobook. I forgot how cute these characters were and how much I love all of them. I still have the same problems with this book as I did in the beginning. I wanted to spend more time with Simon and the character who ends up being Blue towards the very end. It's kind of like we figure out who Blue is, yay, they're a cutesy couple, in the book. I kind of didn't like that. I wanted to spend more time with these two, and the cameos we got from Leah on the Offbeat just wasn't enough to satisfy me. So it's still a 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy the book. I loved it really. And this moves us on to the next book that I read, Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. Now, I'm not going to talk much about this book because I just filmed a review for this book like before I made this video, and I'm kind of tired of talking about it. So I will leave the link to that video in the description box below if you want to go check it out. You might want to because it's a very unpopular review. I mean, I haven't posted it yet, but I know it's going to be an unpopular review because I rated this book 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I'm sure to get a lot of hate for that, but I mean, I can't help it. That was some of it was based on fact, but a lot of it was based on opinion, just my feelings about the book. If you want to know my thoughts and opinions about the book, like my honest thoughts and opinions about it, you can go check out my Goodreads review, which is kind of spoilery. So if you haven't read the book, I wouldn't recommend reading it. But if you want to know my non-spoilery thoughts about it, that pretty much goes over what's in my Goodreads review, just without spoilers. I will leave the video linked in the description box below, and my Goodreads link is always in the description box if you ever want to check out any of the reviews I write for books. And if you want to comment on the video, feel free. I'm all up for constructive criticism and everyone sharing their opinions about books and everything. Just, if you're going, and I don't care if you're hateful to me in the comments because of my opinions of the book, but if you're going to comment on something else someone said, just try to be respectful. And last but not least, I read all 10 volumes of Bloody Mary. This was a fantastic manga series. It ended like a month or two ago. I'm not really sure now, but I did do my first manga review for this series, so I'll leave that linked in the description box below. But overall, all of these books got a 4 stars except for volume 10, which got a 4.5 stars. And I just love the series, love the artwork, and I'm really sad that I can no longer just dive into this world and not know what's going on. I was kind of hoping that this would be like a 20-book series. Didn't happen. But since I did a review, I'm not going to talk about them much because this video's probably been way too long already. Those are all the books that I've read since my last video. I can't actually remember when that was. You guys should let me know what you guys have read so far in 2018 in the description box below. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!